It's been 2 years since Colorado legalized marijuana for recreational purposes, and opponents often look to the youth as the reason not to legalize. Well, at least for the moment, it looks like we can maybe chill out with the reefer madness because according to a survey conducted by the Colorado Department of Public Health, teen pot smoking has largely remained unchanged and is in fact lower than the national average. So guys, we know that Colorado legalized weed back in 2012. It was 2014 when the first recreational pot shops started popping up. And this is for people that are 21 years of age and up. And as I was saying, the opponents generally are saying that they didn't want teens to start smoking more. But there was a survey conducted by the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. They do a biannual poll to get a sense of this. This is also in conjunction with the University of Colorado. And according to their findings, teens pot smoking has pretty much stayed the same. So in 2011, there were 22% of high schoolers that responded that said they'd used marijuana in the previous 30 days. So this is, of course, before legalization. Well, in 2015, it's 21.2%. So it's less. It's negligible, but I mean, it is still less, and that is still slightly below the national average, which is 21.7%. This is amongst, I'm sorry, real quick, amongst 17,000 high schoolers that responded to the poll.
That's really cool, right? So even somebody who's, advocating for recreational marijuana across the country, like I am, for example, I would still be very shocked, and I would be the last person to think that the number would actually go down. That makes absolutely no sense to me. But what's important here is the fact that it shows that it's definitely not going to go up. And just because people are smoking legally doesn't mean, kids are going to start getting into it at a young age. So that's what's really important here, that it didn't go up. It went down. That's just weird to me.
Also, go ahead, sorry.
Did you say chill out with the reefer madness? Just check.
I didn't say
that. Is a new.
It's going to change your life.
All these kids running around with doobies in their mouths.
Yeah, exactly. 1950s style. Well, and what's interesting is the same thing is the case for adults. It's not like yes, of course, you have a lot of people kind of moving to Colorado because of this, but it's not like every adult in Colorado, now that it's legal, is going to start smoking weed. One of the reasons is because it was still easily obtainable well before legalization, So it kind of highlights the fact that you trying to make drugs illegal doesn't make people smoke.
Who are they going to arrest
less.
now is the question.
Right.
That's who this affects. It affects law enforcement, court officials. They're not going to have anybody to arrest anymore, basically.
Well,
That's true.
We talk a lot about how the taxes that Colorado has been able to bring in from weed, it's surpassed alcohol taxes. They've made so much money from this. Crimes related to marijuana have dropped substantially. And yeah, it allows people to not necessarily be plugged into the judicial system because of these minor drug offenses or even just having possession of marijuana, which I think is the biggest takeaway from this. That let's stop with the prison industrial complex, starting with drugs.
People make money off of it, right?
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about how it's this taboo that's just stuck with us for a long time. It's this taboo. No, they're not dumb. They're making money off the fact, right? But as these politicians get older and older and the generation changes, well, we're going to definitely see a shift in the way that people are thinking about marijuana, and it's already happening. I mean, compare our generation to our parents and their parents' generations. It's a completely different way of looking at it, and rightfully so, because there's nothing bad. If anything, there's actually some benefits, right? Economically, medically, a lot of things. Plus, it's so fun.
Colorado is really setting the trend here. Just a few states over, though, in Oklahoma, we covered a case of a war vet that had PTSD. He was growing a few pot plants. I think he was looking at 40 years in prison for that.
Right.
So dramatically different laws based on state regarding pot.
Sure. Well, and I mean, it's interesting because, of course, as we move farther, there's going to be different things that have to be regulated. For example, police officers, they complain that there's not really a way to monitor drugged driving. There's not the same kind of breathalyzer equivalent to that. And then, of course, when you're regulating edibles, for example, or all the different ways that you can get your marijuana, your cannabis. But this is interesting. So, of course, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, Alaska, they've all legalized. There's other states, our state included, California, California, Nevada, and Massachusetts. They're most likely going to be voting in November to see, if they want to legalize as well. I do think
recreationally.
Recreationally, not just medicinally. So I think that this is good. I think that it proves that teens aren't necessarily going to become huge pot smokers just because you legalize marijuana.